video on something that I want to have a faff around with. So I want to do chickpeas and pasta. I don't think it's pasta fazool. I don't think it is. It'll be a pasta dish that I can't pronounce because I struggle with my own language, let alone other people's. So basically, it's going to be chickpeas pasta and caramelized onion as the base of it. So I'm just using some chicken fat to cook this onion. So we're going to cook this onion and then and get it almost not brown. We're not going to caramelize it as such, but we're going to soften it and get it to the stage where it's sweetened up and started to almost caramelize, which that's on too high a heat. I just kind of think the chicken fat will be nice because it'll add a depth of flavour. If I wasn't using chicken fat, I'd use butter. We might put some butter in as well. And then I cook some chickpeas. So we've got some chickpeas to put in it. I've seen different versions where people puree down the chickpeas and kind of make a bit of a sauce out of that. I don't think I'm going to do that. And then we've got the juice that I cook the chickpeas in. And then I've got this ridiculously big bag of pasta. So how much pasta? There's 3 kilograms in that. At Lidl we're doing that thing where it was spend a certain amount of money and you get a free gift. And so I was looking down the free gifts and it was like 500 grams of this type of pasta, 100 grams of, well no, not 100 grams, but like a kilo of this type of pasta, or 3 kilos of that type of pasta. So I was kind of like, well obviously I'm going to get the 3 kilos of pasta, you know, because why would you buy a kilo of something when you can have 3 kilos of something for kind of free? Even though, I don't know when I'm going to use all that, but we're going to use that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, salt and pepper, always. What I am going to do, so the salt will bring out some of the moisture from the onions and help them caramelize a little bit quicker. And then pepper as always. What I am going to do with the pasta is, because the pasta and chickpea, it's normally like tiny little bits of pasta. I can't remember the type that you're supposed to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to smash up that pasta. We'll put it in a cloth and hit it with a hammer or the rolling pin, and we'll make it smaller, and then we'll kind of do it like that. So caramelize these off, and then we'll be adding the pasta to that when it's smashed up, fry it around a bit, and then we'll be cooking it a bit like a risotto. So a little bit of water when that water is evaporated, the chickpea water, and then add a little bit more water as we kind of go, and we'll probably put the chickpeas in at that time as well, and then we'll kind of see what we get. But it should, because we're going to take some time and we're going to caramelize these onions, and we're going to use this chickpea stock, and we're using chicken fat, we should kind of develop some kind of a good layer of flavour, as opposed to something that's just made out of chickpeas, onion and pasta, which potentially could be extremely bland, but I don't think it will be. Onions are cooked, and they're just starting to caramelize on the bottom of the pan, so they are ready. Let's give them a taste. They should be nice and sweet, nice and sweet. So it was one big onion, 200 grams of smashed up pasta. You can just buy that pasta that's already in little squares, but not me. And then, so this chickpea cooking liquid, which has got a little bit of stock in it as well, actually, and a few other things, leftovers from something else, so that's alright. Those bits of leek can go into that pan of soup that I'm making at the back of the stove. So probably want a bit more liquid than that. That and that, so another bit of liquid. That's that. Turn the heat up, and then we're going to cook it like a risotto. I was kind of thinking maybe if I wanted, instead of pureeing the chickpeas, I should have done 2 onions, taken half the onion out of the pan at this stage, and pureed that onion. Pureed, that's me using the hand blender, and then that would have made like a sauce, and then we could have added that back to this when it's all kind of cooked together. So what I'm kind of thinking is that the fat and the starch that's going to come out of the pasta is going to combine with the cooking liquid, and it's kind of going to form a sauce, a bit like in the same way that you do with a cacio e pepe or a pasta alla Grecia. I probably pronounced those wrong, and I do apologise. But the same kind of principle. And then we're going to put the chickpeas in as well. Yes. So let's measure how much chickpeas we're going to put in. So what would it weigh? Half of that, I reckon. Let's do it. So it's 200 grams. Yeah, so let's do 200 grams of pasta and then 200 grams of chickpeas. And then that's straightforward, isn't it? So 1 onion, 200 grams of pasta, 200 grams of cooked chickpeas. And then we'll see how that turns out. So it will need more liquid adding to it as the pasta absorbs the liquid and the liquid evaporates through the cooking process. We'll need to add some more liquid, but I'm going to do it like a risotto, so just add a bit more liquid as we kind of go until the pasta is almost cooked, and then we can decide if we want to put some cheese in it, maybe. Right, so it has cooked and we've added a bit more stock as it's cooking. How does it taste? How does it taste? Should have had a spoon ready, shouldn't I? That's surprisingly interesting for so few ingredients. Now, I was thinking that it would have been nice to actually... How would we have done it? How would I either use 2 onions, like I said before, and puree half of the onions down to kind of make the sauce, or to put some diced leek in there would be nice. So as it was kind of maybe a few minutes away from being cooked, stirring in some like washed leeks, I think that would be really kind of quite nice. And maybe puree the onion down to kind of make the sauce. Maybe that would kind of like nice. And then you would have kind of layers of flavour and some herbs in there. It'd be nice, all that kind of stuff. But I thought what we would do, we haven't got any leeks, but what I thought we would do is we'll take some out like that. We'll turn the heat off. What's that chickpea? Lovely and tender. I thought what we'd do is we will grate some cheese into this and see if we can do that cacio e pepe type of thing where we melt the cheese into the sauce. And it's like making a cheese sauce because we've got all the elements of a cheese sauce in there. So we've got the starch, we've got the fat, and we've got the liquid. And then just to add the cheese, we melt the cheese in, and that forms more of a sauce. Of course, and it's going to make it nicer because things with cheese are nicer, aren't they? But it doesn't necessarily need it. I just kind of thought we'll do a version with and without, and then I might have to add a little bit more water, but probably not. But don't have the heat on when you add cheese, otherwise there's a risk of splitting it and the fat coming out of the cheese and it spoiling it. Well, it wouldn't spoil it, you'd still eat it, wouldn't you? Just because the fat split out of it and it doesn't look as appetizing doesn't mean that you wouldn't eat it. Well, I'd carry on eating it. But then I kind of think if we were to put leeks in, leeks work well with cheese, don't they? So that would be extra nice. So but not have it. See, we're not that far away from macaroni cheese, are we? Doing this, are we? That's interesting. That's interesting. I reckon we can do a different version of macaroni cheese. So, how does it taste with cheese then? Good, because it's kind of gone like risotto. That's good. That's nice. That's delicious. So, that works, doesn't it? And opens up the possibilities for other things. So, I think just because you've only got a few things in your cupboard doesn't mean you can't have something nice for dinner. I mean, it's not the most colourful of dinner. I mean, it's a bit beige to tell the truth, but taste-wise, Lovely. So therefore, a success. And a good way to use up all those bits of pasta that are all smashed up